My name is Dr. Alvin Glad. I am a father, proud father. I am an author and a marketing strategist. And today we're about to talk about my memoir, Liberian Boy, Triumph Over War Shadows. We really talk about my life as a former Liberian refugee, living in a refugee camp for 7 years. You know, this was the first time that I really lost someone who's close to me. You know, this was someone who I raised. You know, he was born in 1990, and throughout the refugee camp, I was his caregiver. I used to change his diapers throughout his young adult life, you know. And I don't think I've ever cried and felt pain like I did when I got the call that he was murdered. And I'll talk about it in the book, you know, the eulogy that I wrote. This was the first time that I truly felt pain that's unimaginable. And it took me a long time that I could actually speak of unity without like just breaking down. It's one of the toughest thing I've ever experienced. Just getting that phone call and saying that he's no longer, that I can't pick up the phone and call him. It was hard. It was hard. And that also changed my life. Because here I felt like I was on top of the world. The world was mine. And Unity dying pretty much was like a wake-up call, and everything was just taken away from me, and it gave me perspective. And it made me realize that every day you wake up, you think the world is yours, that it could be taken away in a second. And you know, I talk about it in the book in the context of time, T-I-M-E. And I reflected on that, and pretty much time for me is like today is my everything. The sense of gratitude, the sense of purpose, made me think about the things that I think are so big of a deal that I worry about every day out. I just don't stress about it because I understand like in any moment that your life can be taken away. And losing Unity was that defining moment for me. And it also was the same moment that made me realize that I needed to have a different, you know, trajectory for the rest of my life. That's also was a catalyst into my divorce, because I realized where I was at the time. That wasn't it. Yeah. That was hard. When Unity passed away, December 29th is when I got a call, 2019, right? And, you know, I buried him, I think it was January 27, 28 in 2020. So right before COVID started. And my brother Matthew at the time, who he was suffering from kidney failure, and he couldn't go to the funeral, and he was like the rock, right? He would call me, my mom, my sisters, you know, all of them were worried about my mental state, because think about throughout that period, we really couldn't move around because of COVID and everything else that was happening. So I was really stuck at home with, you know, just me, my kids, Cammie, and my ex-wife at the time, and my family. Just having them around and being able to call someone and talk to them, for me was very important, because there was no other outlet, right? And what I would do, which is, you know, I would go for a run every day. You know, that helped me release some of my stress. But man, losing someone is tough. And Matthew was there, even though he was going through his own challenge, that we all grieve together, my family. We all check up on each other. And I think that was very important for me to help, you know, get through that period, because everyone was grieving together because we were so close-knit. You know, my mom, my sister, everyone calling each other every day and just checking up on each other. But it was a tough time. It was a really tough time. And if I didn't have that circle, my mom, my sisters, Angela, Geraldine, who's my baby sister also, who, you know, she was born during the war. I took care of she in Unity. And I got much closer to her, because Unity is no longer there. She was the person, right? And that helped me, get through that period. What was the main turning point in my life? I mean, everything I've been through, right? So refugee life, when I came to this country, really, I had to try to figure out how to integrate into, the culture. And I was able to successfully do that and went to college and got a job. But I think Unity passing was a turning point in my life because it gives me a sense of purpose. It made me realize that everything you have could be taken away in an instant. Even though I knew that, but growing up earlier on, as a teenager and as a refugee, like I really didn't understand it because I was just surviving in the moment. But this is a challenge that everyone goes through in life, right? Whether death, divorce, and all that. And Unity's passing really offered me perspective on life. And that is the perspective that it offers, like, you have to live a purposeful life. What is your legacy? And why did I have that perspective the way in which he passed away? He was helping someone. He did not know who that person was. And he got murdered because of that, right? He sacrificed himself. So for me, it was all about going through like the trials and just understanding the detail of how he passed. Made me realize, like, if someone can be so selfless and they lose their life, I have to change my perspective on life and how I want to live the rest of my life, which is how I want to be able to, when I leave this place, I want people to talk about what I've done, the people that I've impacted the way he did. And that's what changed my life. And ever since, that's why I started the Unity J. McGill Foundation, right? To send, people to Liberia, to school. My goal is to be able to build an education center where people can go and learn, whatever they want to learn and change their life. And it's all because Unity sacrificed himself, and it made me understand that this life that we live is more than the cars, the house, the materialistic things, how much money you have, because you don't leave for any of those things. And for me, that was his passing was a turning point in my life, because a lot of things changed. I got divorced because of that. I started reassessing my life and where I want to go. For me, it's about how does a person overcome challenges in their life, because it's bound to happen. And their perspective on things is really what drives, how you overcome that, right? And I talk about through my challenges and how I see things and how, that helped me overcome some of the toughest challenges. I think for me, it's about people going to understand that there is beauty on the other side of pain. And you have to go through those moments of trials. Those moments of trial builds resilience in who you are. It builds your perspective to understand that no matter the situation, that the impossible is possible. It helps you understand that your current situation does not define your future. And oftentimes that we focus on the why this is happening to me, and we become so, engulfed in our grief, and it crumbles like everything else, and we can't think, right? So my hope is with this book is that when people read it, they can understand like some of the challenges that I went through, and how did I use that to help me propel forward. And if I can help one person, just one person who's going through some of the toughest challenges in their life, whether it was death, losing a loved one like I lost Unity, or they're going through divorce, which I did. These are things that happen to everyone. Being a refugee is not common, right? But losing people is universal. Going through divorce, it happens. Losing a job to provide for your family, it happens. And just, if I can help someone who are in those situations and really understand, like, it's just a moment in time that you have to just focus on just getting through that moment, that on the other side of that, just beauty. How do I define success? Success for me is peace. peace within yourself. Success is sense of fulfillment within yourself. Success is happiness, right? Those are all the things are, for me, are success. It's not about the material things. You know, I have a career. I've built that through resilience, right? But you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the material things, but if you're not happy, if you're not at peace, if you don't feel like you're living a life that you can go to sleep and have a good night's sleep, you're not successful. So when I talk about this beauty on the other side of pain, that's what I truly mean, because I feel like I'm at peace. I'm living for me. I'm living a purposeful life. I'm a good father. I'm helping people through the foundation. And all of those things would not have come to fruition if I didn't go through all of the challenges I have. And for me, early on, it wasn't always like that. You know, it was all about how much money I can make. And I was chasing money. But truly, I wasn't happy. And when Unity passed away, that was a defining moment in my life. It's like, there's more to life than just money. You gotta be happy within yourself. You gotta be happy. And that's truly, for me, what success means. And that's where I'm at. So when I talk about there's beauty on the other side of pain, it's all about, can you go to sleep at night and wake up happy?